Welcome, Barbara Parker. How are you?
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, we're excited to have you. Are you ready to pour into our listeners?
Yes.
All right, Barbara, we are super excited. Now, tell us a bit about your leadership journey and tell us what you're doing now.
So I started my business working for other companies. I've done some research dealing with women who are survivors of domestic violence, and that grew this passion for keeping women safe. That in turn became a whole business of counseling, and I've decided that right now I'm focused not only on the mental health side of things, because I was very worried about trauma and treating trauma as quickly and as efficiently as possible. But when I'm working with my clients, I realize that trauma has a physical impact. And so now today's our first day we're launching our transformation system for supplements as well as the book to help them with getting out of toxic relationships.
My God,
So that's where we are today.
I think this is so timely that we're doing this at the time that you're launching some important work. So, your website is bfempowerment.com. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So, BF, is that best friend? What is that?
I think we're gonna transition it into best friend, but it used to be my former last name was Foster. So Barbara Foster Empowerment, but now I'm Barbara Parker.
All right, things have changed. Now, I read a little bit about you. Super interesting. You're a survivor, you're a therapist, you're an advocate, an all-around badass.
Thanks.
Yeah, tell us your story and your journey to this moment in time.
I realize a lot of times when it comes to experiencing very traumatic events, we don't have the language to describe it. We'll just say, like, this bad thing happened to us, and the people around us will have this unreasonable expectation for you to just be over it. And when I'm working with my clients, I tell them, look, trauma is stored in a part of your brain that you don't readily have access to. And you have to get it to move to the front so you can think logically. So when you're having outbursts and, feeling overwhelmed or crashing out, a lot of that is a trauma response. It's not really what they think it is. So helping people to understand that this bad thing happened to you, but you don't have to stay stuck, and there's growth on the other side of that, and there's joy and there's happiness and peace, and taking my clients through that journey of this is what healed trauma looks like. And it usually only takes us like 12 weeks to get them to that point of where they never even imagined was possible.
Right. And I have a feeling that comes from experience.
Yes, I had to learn it the hard way.
So,
And it
you
took
know,
me a lot longer than 12 weeks.
right. So this is why this is so beautiful because you're bringing
Yes,
all of that into the work, and it seems to be the work of your soul.
yes.
Okay. So if you want, you can share a little bit about your journey, and I can certainly share some of mine.
So as a teenager, I experienced some sexual assault, being put into positions that I shouldn't have been in, where it makes it sexual coercion as well. So, not really having a language for that, but feeling the remnants of that pain throughout life. And even where I'm having a flashback when I was being intimate with my husband and not knowing what that trigger was, not even knowing that a trigger was a thing at the time it happened. So, getting people that information about how you're going to make that pivot and shift is something that they can't even imagine, because for some clients, they're having these experiences once to three times or more a week. So changing that frequency and intensity of that pain to where it's a memory, but it's not a blockade for progress in your life.
Thank you for sharing that. You're speaking from authority, which helps people to lean in. And I'm encouraging our listeners to lean in here because if we don't deal with our shit, okay, let me rephrase
Yeah.
that. You don't deal
Oh
with
no, I cuss
your
like a sailor. You're totally fine.
if
I'm
we
trying to clean
don't
it up a little bit.
if we don't deal with our trauma, which
Yeah.
can be really scary. Fear can have an impact here. sometimes when those memories come up, we feel like we can't survive those memories. So we push them down.
It's our survival mechanism.
Yeah,
Yeah. Avoidance is part of knowing you have PTSD.
yes,
And you don't know that it's avoidance. You just know I don't like feeling like this after something brings that back up for me.
right,
And you actively avoid it, but that's the body and the mind's way of protecting itself, is
right.
to keep you safe.
You're absolutely right. I want to encourage the listeners that if you heard this and you're wanting to run or turn it off, just hang in there. I've gone through trauma. I was raised by a pedophile. So when you're speaking, it resonates. The key is that you created community. You've created a system and a process to help people. It's not just get over it. And not only that, if we don't deal with it, we also impact those around us in a very intense way and sometimes traumatizing. Well, oftentimes traumatizing. And so, the cycle continues. It may not be in the same way, but that energy doesn't die, right? It transmutes
Right.
into different things. So, for our listeners, where should they tune in to learn more about this important work?
Powerfully Broken podcast. We air every Friday morning at 9 a.m. We're on YouTube, uh, Apple, Spotify, pretty much any of your podcasting streaming platforms. Powerfully Broken podcast. You look
Ooh,
for Powerfully Broken, you're going to get somebody else, but we're called Podcasters in the name.
okay,
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you so much. And, John Maxwell says change is inevitable, growth is optional. And what I'm
Mm.
learning is that, we either grow or we atrophy. And sometimes that growth can come from crisis. You and I both know this. So, what has been the best crisis in your life?
Oh, the best crisis in my life. I would probably say becoming homeless. It was something I was completely unfamiliar with, but that led me into moving into a homeless shelter. It made me lean on God more. It made me have the kind of devotion that has been unparalleled in my times of comfort. I know it sounds crazy, but if it had not been for God, I would not be in the position of owning a multi-million dollar company, because God gave me a vision during those times of what my life would look like. And I still have not fully realized that dream, but I am on the journey and I know I'm on the right path.
And the journey is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I think about your journey and being homeless, it again gives you that credibility that you're speaking from experience, not just understanding and knowledge. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, as someone committed to continuous learning, Barbara, what are you learning right now?
I'm revisiting the 10X book, and I'm in the process of also listening to the Four Dimensions of, I cannot remember the name of it. It's about small businesses
Okay.
and why they fail. So that's a book I'm just starting this weekend, which is probably why I can't remember the title. It's super fresh. But I think the book that probably changed my life, though, would be Why Does He Do It? And also Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Ooh.
Rich Dad Poor Dad helped me think about becoming the land of yes. And instead of being like, well, I can't do this and I can't do that, how can I? It did a total mind shift for me. And in addition to that, why does he do that? That book taught me about the
Ooh.
tools of abuse
Ooh.
and how they go unnoticed and they fly up under the radar. And because they're flying up under the radar, most people don't realize they're in an abusive cycle until it happens. A lot of time I'm having just general conversations with people in the community, and I'm like, oh, wow, her daughter's being abused. And then later, through the right questions, that person will reveal that I am right about my suspicion. So I'm able to detect things a lot faster and get them some tools to get out of those situations a lot.
That's an amazing skill because I know that having gone through trauma, we can become very empathetic, very in tune, but translating that or transmuting that into a language where you create a safe space for someone to be open is
Yeah.
a powerful skill. It is much needed, especially now in a culture where abuse of children, of adults, is not looked at and no one's held accountable. So these spaces are incredibly important, and I honor you. So thank you so much for that. Now, you've written a book. Tell
Yes.
us about that.
I've written A Powerful Divorce. One of the times I realized I have felt most disempowered in my life was within my marriage. It was also a time period where I didn't have money. I had to hide money. I was also experiencing some financial abuse in that relationship. And I did not realize that the best thing that could have ever happened to me was getting out of that relationship because it was so toxic for me. I had no peace, which was not directly tied to the money. I had been broke all my life prior to that. But it was about the lack of healthy communication, healthy boundaries. And I realized it was not just being in the relationship. I couldn't just blame him for all the things he did that were hurtful to me. I had to ask myself a couple of questions. Why did I get in this relationship? Why did I stay so long? And what was I afraid of if I chose to leave?
Wow.
And I had to realize that it required a mindset shift. And so through this book, we talk a little bit about all the different things that has to occur for people to start to make that shift. And I'm not saying I'm recommending divorce for every couple in every situation, but sometimes you can divorce yourself from a mindset and make yourself have a healthier relationship because you might be engaging in some self-defeating behavior.
Where can we get the book?
So right now we're releasing one chapter free. In addition to that, we are actually launching the book August 10th. So
Ooh,
it'll be available as an ebook, as a paperback, and a hardback.
all right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Now, when you reflect on leadership today, Barbara, what are your
Mhm.
biggest concerns and what gives you the most hope?
When I'm thinking about leadership, I'm realizing we have too many people that live in the land of no and not in the land of yes. A lot of times we tell ourselves we can't do something, not realizing that can't is a limiting belief. And helping your staff or your family members change that mindset takes time because all they can see what is in front of them, not what could be. So making that shift, even if it's in the smallest, tiniest way, it makes you come up with a solution to a problem instead of just looking at the problem and finding it insurmountable.
It's what you said before. Instead of saying, I can't do that, is how can I do that?
Yes,
It's that little
yes,
shift, even though it seems like very benign, it's super important. Every time we have a problem, the solution is right there with us. We just may not see it because we're so entrenched in the problem.
yes.
I love that mind shift. Instead of, I can't do this, is how can I do this? So beautiful. Thank you
Right.
so much. Now, we have a surprise question from a former guest. Are you ready?
Yes.
So Amy Guerrero wants to know, what is
Okay.
your definition of integrity?
My definition of integrity is being who you are, whether you're in a room by yourself or you're amongst 100 people. Now, we can show up in different ways, but if you're a person who's dishonest, then lie to yourself and lie to everybody around you. That's integrity. Not that we think about that, but who you are in and out of public spaces is integrity, being what you are consistently. Some might refer to that as character,
Mhm.
who you are when you're not being watched. Typically, people refer to integrity as I always do the right thing, I always do this, I always do that. Well, I don't think anybody
It's not humanly possible.
ever falls into the category of always or never.
Right,
That's my therapist training in me.
right.
So I don't think integrity really is a concept that is concrete. I think you have to be that person that's dependable. And when you are dependable with yourself, you say, hey, I'm going to work out, that you show up for yourself. I want to take my multivitamin. I want to take my medication, that you're showing up for yourself like you show up for other people.
Mhm.
You know, you'll neglect yourself and then show up for 15 different people and be like, I don't know, I'm exhausted. I can't believe I can't get this done. And you put yourself on the back burner when you should have put yourself first. And
I,
to me, that's integrity.
I love that. So there are two questions that come up. How
Okay.
important is self-care and self-love in this process?
It's the foundation. If you can't take care of you, you leave yourself vulnerable to the vultures out there that will prey on you because you don't know and you don't protect your peace or yourself or your finances in a way that's concrete. So you have to be very vigilant about taking care of yourself first, because when you're healthy, you will start to take care of everything around you. Like when you go to the grocery store and you're hungry, start putting all kind of chips and candy and all these unhealthy things in your cart, knowing that you went in for chicken, lettuce,
Mhm.
and that's the same. I've heard somebody recently say, what you do in one thing is how you do everything.
Yes, absolutely.
And when we aren't focused on taking care of ourselves first, we put ourselves in these different situations and it leaves us vulnerable to somebody else's unhealthy attachment.
Yes. One of the things that I had to unlearn was putting myself second and serving others. Like that was what I was taught. Culture taught us that, religion taught me that. And I had this limiting belief that if I focused on me, it's selfish. And what I've experienced is that when I focus on me and loving me, then I have the capacity to love others in such a deeper way. And it seems counterintuitive because if you're raised in that culture of service, especially with women in the society, that we have to serve and give and give and give, that's our purpose in life. I want to push back. And you and I know that we can't drink from a pool of water that's stagnant. That will make us sick.
Yeah.
But when we
Yeah.
focus on self-love, I promise you that spring of living water will gush out. And I'm getting goosebumps right now because the amount of love that you are able to give to other people is staggering and it is beautiful. And I really want to
Yeah.
encourage people to just experiment, do it for a month, see what happens. All right.
Or even start small, do it for a day, do it
Okay.
for an
Okay.
hour.
Yes.
Because I mean, we as women, mothers, wives, we literally from the time we not even fully open your eyes and you starting to think of your to-do list of everything you have going on that is insurmountable, and you start your day anxious because you don't think you have enough hours in a day to get anything accomplished, and it's overwhelming.
It is. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Now, as a listener of this podcast, Barbara, what's a question that you have for our future leadership guests? Like, what are you curious about?
I would ask them to tell your audience what thing they feel like is the game changer that could have saved them time if they had have known it 10 years earlier, and give your audience a jump start on getting things done.
Okay, so you want to know what is the thing you feel is the game changer that could have saved you time if you knew this 10 years earlier. I love this. Now, I've had over 360 guests. I've never had this question posed. You guys come up with really, really good questions. And so thank you so much for contributing. Now, is there anything else you want to share with our audience before we wrap up?
The only thing is, we also offer coaching. So if you are struggling with your finances, your business, your relationship, your children even, and you just overwhelmed, can't figure it out, we do offer some coaching to help you with getting your peace back, reestablishing your identity and confidence, and being able to move through life. And it only takes maybe 12 weeks to get most people through that process. And they can see real actionable change in that short time.
That is a short time. And just to put a bow on it, tell us your website and where we can connect with you.
Our website is www.b as in boy, F as in Frank, empowerment.com. And we're located in Akron, Ohio. The number is 330-368-2400. And you can follow me on social media at Queen BL Parker or BF Empowerment, just to keep up with what I'm doing, because I'm always challenging myself to do something new. So come on a journey with us to being a billion-dollar company.
Thank you so much for adding value to me and to our listeners. It's been a great conversation, Barbara.
Thanks again for having me.